I was watching two YouTubers this morning and they were talking about money. Really resonated with me. I thought I'd chat a little bit about it. Today is Saturday, the 25th of April, and we're here in Sanur. Finally made it here. So the two YouTubers, right? A guy called Cal, he's got a massive channel, talks about Thailand. I've been watching his videos for ages, really useful. Talks about tourism and visas and all the kind of things you need to know about Thailand. And he was interviewing, I think he was a Kiwi or an Aussie guy who's also in Thailand and has started a channel. And what resonated with me about the money aspect of things was that they were talking about how much they had both left their respective countries with in order to move to Thailand. And it was so different from my own personal experience and what I was comfortable with that I thought, yeah, this is a good topic, because this week a lot of things have happened around money, different platforms, things around this channel. So I thought we'll come down to the beachfront, right? It's just about to go 1 o'clock. Everybody's sitting out in the sun. People are having drinks, cocktails at the waterfront here. Look at, just have a quick look around here. Look at this for a walk. Absolutely stunning. Right, so the two of them were sitting doing an interview. I'll leave a link down below so you can go watch it. Cal's channel's massive. I think he was like an English teacher. He's just recently went full time on YouTube. And the Kiwi or the Aussie, forgive me if I've got that wrong, I was just watching it in the background. But we're both talking about leaving their respective countries of Canada, Australia, New Zealand, which of those it is, moving to Thailand and starting up. Now, Cal mentioned in his interview that he left with $40,000, Canadian dollars, $40,000. And the guy he was interviewing had said that he had left Australia or New Zealand with $7,000. I was like, wow, that's wild to me right now. The most regular question that I ever get asked. I'm going to flip this round so you get a bit of the view while I'm talking, right? But the most regular question I've got asked since I started this channel way back in January of last year was just, how much money have you got? That hasn't came from any one particular viewer. That's a lot of viewers, a lot of people that are following this, because my audience is typically men my age, 45 to 60, that's my demographic, right? That age bracket. So it's men and probably their wives and partners, much like me, right? I've got Yvonne here, she's just there wandering along. You got your partner, or maybe you're on your own and you're thinking about, just had enough. Kind of want to get out of the UK, want to go and travel. Maybe you're looking to retire in another country and you're wondering, like, how much money do you actually need to do this? Now, Cal's conversation, right, $40,000, and the other guy, $7,000. That's you have to start a completely different life in a new location. Hustling, wheeling, dealing, you know. Cal was an English teacher. The other guy set up a channel, but knew he would have to work, and also he was talking openly about living a significantly more frugal life, spending something like 500 baht a day, talking about his accommodation, right? And then that relays back to me, so I get asked regularly how much money you've got, and I've shared as much as I could walking through these last 14 months. January starting the channel, it going monetized, selling things, right? The money we brought in from selling all of our life's possessions. And then numbers that I didn't disclose was like redundancy. I never talked about the inheritance that I got from my father, mainly because that's private, and also my number relates to my brother and sisters and my niece, right? Because my dad was a single parent. He was a blue collar worker, he was a school janitor. He lived in an ex-council house. That's what he died with, that. Not hundreds of thousands in the bank or anything else. That house, that was pretty much it. In the last months of my dad's life, I was paying most of his bills for him. Now, turns out he had a little bit of savings. I probably didn't need to be paying those bills, but I felt that that was the right thing to do, to look after him at that point. And we had talked about moving back to Scotland, and my dad I'd offered with him to come and live with us, and he had accepted that, but we didn't make it that far. So comes to the question right now, I wouldn't have been comfortable leaving the UK with like 10 grand, but that's not to say it can't be done. I watch a channel, a guy called Daryl Solus. I've met up with Daryl. We've had lunch, we've had coffees. And Daryl's a much younger guy, he's in his 30s. And a single man. He's living a very different life. He's hustling, runs an Etsy account, makes his YouTube videos. So we have very different ways of tackling life out of the UK. On our recent live stream, I was also talking about 2 different examples of ways to live here, whether that's in Southeast Asia. There was a bottom up and a top down. Bottom up was if I give you the example that we live on, Yvonne and I together as a couple, about £1,500 a month. Insurance, rent, travel, taxis, food, groceries, everything else. £1,500 a month is the average. When I talk about bottom up, that's basically saying if you have a way to make money online, like Daryl, Etsy store, or you make documents, or you're a teacher, or you have a channel, or whatever that is, right? Whatever way that you can hold down a job and earn some money, your Western salary out here is going to go a long way. Somebody said in the comments recently, geo arbitrage, taking your earnings and being able to then live here whilst earning internationally. So if you can do that, right, and you can bring in £1,500, can you live comfortably? Yes, and that would mean then you don't have to have masses in the bank in order to do it. You just have to have a regular income. And that's what Cal and the other YouTuber, apologies, I can't remember his name, Sam, thanks Ronnie, was talking about, right? They left with a small amount of money and then make it work. And so I was reflecting back on that, right? My live stream recently, talking about my ex-colleague Bianca in her 30s, young daughter. She's got an online business, has a property to rent out in London, bringing in some money. So she was asking, do you think I could do this? And I'm like, well, if you can earn online, you can bring money in regularly, why can't you? I mean, that might be just for 6 months, a year, longer. You know, nothing has to be immediately forever when you make these decisions. But then you get the other side of that, right? So that's bottom up. Can you make the money that you need to survive? And then top down is, do you have the money to do it in the first place in order to enact it? That's kind of the position that I came from, right? That was 30 years of sales, choices in life, like we didn't have kids because we never felt financially in a position to do that, but we invested money. We didn't buy a house, so we weren't committed to having a property sale. Now, I owned a house in Glasgow, sold that when I moved to England, had a very small apartment in Cyprus, sold that as well, so I had money that was coming in from that. Those were all decisions, savings and everything else. We didn't own cars, so we didn't have cars to get rid of, they were company cars. And we sold all of our own possessions. And then on top of that, redundancy for Yvonne, redundancy for me, and that money was invested into stocks and shares. And we ride this wave now of watching the market. So top down, yes, we had money to leave to be able to do it. And then I meet Brian, who's a 70-odd-year-old man, 70, he just turned 70, Irishman, living out in California, got a house that he's renting out on Airbnb. He's got his investments, writes stock options the same as I do. He's got an income and now is applying for a visa to live in Malaysia. So that's the top-down method, right? But that's to basically point out that there are multiple ways to change your life and to put the effort in to decide if you want to live somewhere else. But here's the crucial part in all of that. The money isn't the fix, right? The money facilitates it depending on which way you want to approach it. Bottom up, make a living. Top down, savings that you can invest or can give you a runway, right? How much money you've got divided by how much your monthly cost of living is. That's what I try and share here. Like, this is what we are spending every month to live. All right, 7 months out, but we've made it work so far. So 2 different methods to think about there. And I'll bring that all back to the question of, oh, let me just, give me a second, look. All right, look, when I said I wanted to leave and get to the beach and just sit somewhere and enjoy a coffee with my wife, away from the stresses and the strains of taxes in the UK, a government that seems to want to run you into the ground, the 95 grind with not much left at the end of it all, the weather, the big grey clouds. This is what I was talking about. This is Sanur Beach, and I've got to say, having came from Ubud, this was a very good choice that Yvonne had made sure we moved to, because I would have stayed in Ubud right now. So that money situation, right? Why did I bring all that back? Well, one of the reasons I didn't answer the question about the money, again, since video 1 that I've made here, it's been a running theme on this channel. You know, like, how much have you got, how much you got? Because people want to know, like, what is enough? And the answer to that is, like, only you will know what that answer is, right? Only you will know. And again, before I go into the finer details of this, I have a great friend. It's her birthday today. She's 60 years old. Hello, Christina. And she's an incredible salesperson. Worked with her at a past company. I had a lot of respect for her, and we became friends. And in the last week, she's been all over America for a sales job, right? Running herself into the ground at her 60th birthday. And she's doing all of that out the back of grief, because her own father passed away recently. And I know very well what that's like to deal with. And I took a month off and then had, like, you know, felt like I was just crumbling through all of that. And we'd hear from many of you who were going through the same, that were feeling like you were crumbling. So I knew I wasn't alone. And she's gone back to work straight away. And she's comfortable, right? Earns really good money. And when I ask her why, like, I make these videos sometimes to show people like her, my friends, that this is possible, and what are you doing in this grind? And she'll keep saying to me, oh, I just need to earn a little bit more, I just need to earn a little bit more. This is the psychological aspect of it, right? Some people are just gonna always want that little bit extra to feel comfortable. I don't have enough to feel comfortable. Make videos because I enjoy making them, but I earn a little bit. And I've got risk attached to my runway. When the stock market goes down, as I've shared recently, $32,000, $38,000 down, and then all of a sudden, weeks later, 20 grand up on my account. It's a roller coaster. It can be a little bit stressful. She's not comfortable with that stress. She wants to feel like she's in a great place, and I understand that. So that's why I say, her position versus mine, she's way better off than me, but won't take this risk to do all of this just yet. Right? And again, because she's in a good job, it's like, why do it when I'm in a good job? Well, these are the questions that only you will know in your mind. So let me finish this off then, right? Talking about this. I started a Patreon account in January from nothing, 0 members. What is Patreon? It's an additional platform for content where I can build a community of people who are thinking about this, that want to engage. There's a chat room in there where I communicate every day, talking about my stock options, etc. I publish extra videos. I talk a little bit deeper on some of these topics, where this is a niche channel, right? I get like anywhere between 1,000 and 5,000 views on a video. And on Patreon, I have 3 levels of membership. You can join for free, which is really the 4th. There's £3, £5 and £10. At £3 you access all of the content, all of the main videos. At £5 I'll reach out to you and chat, talk to you on a one-to-one, messaging back and forth. And at the £10 level, I host a monthly Zoom call and I sit with the actual members and we talk. And in the last week at that £10 level, I made a video and I talked exactly about my brokerage account and how much money's in there. And I shared with the members that I really mentally struggled with this because two aspects of it. One, safety, talking about the number, talking about what's in there, right? Because I worry about sharing that kind of information. Many people think it's private, many people want to know. And the second part was judgment. That's really the more difficult part. And what I mean by judgment is people thinking, you've not got enough, this will never last. I hear all of that in the comments, right? Oh, you've rushed into this, you've left too early, you're not retired. Oh, I hear it all. When the stock market crashes, you'll be left with nothing. I hear it all. But for the real people that are thinking about doing this, that might just be the number that gives them the confidence to think, yeah, I probably can do that. So see, when I think about Christina, her number's probably like 5 times my number. That's the attitude and expectation there and appreciation of risk. I'm willing to give myself time to enjoy life in my late 40s when I'm fit enough to do this walk along the beachfront with my wife and sit and have a coffee, versus being 60, 70, 80, try to do this. And again, I bring that back to my dad. Retired at 65 with his partner. She then passes away with cancer many months later. Retirement window, all the plans out the window. My dad then struggles on himself, never really recovering from the grief of losing his partner. And then from 65 to 77, passes away. So 12 years of getting to do what he wanted. After all those years of graft and effort and everything else, right? And I think, do I want to have just 12 years to do what I want to do? Because you never know what's around the corner. So Patreon up and running. There's 97 members in Patreon now. Blows my mind. Started in January with nothing. Started making content. Now I post pretty much every day in there, extra information, and now sharing stuff like, here's what I'm actually dealing with in my brokerage. And what I'm going to do now is every week share that information, like what it looks like, the ups and downs of it all, so that you can actually see, right, that's what's in there. And all of the members that have joined so far, I put a post up saying, when I hit 100, I'm going to increase the price on it. And everybody that's in before that point, your price will stay the same forever. £3, £5 or £10. And everybody that joins after the 100 number will get a slightly higher price. And I'm at 97. And then lastly, and then when I think about Yvonne, right? Yvonne started, hello, how you doing guys? Yvonne started, there you go, everybody's saying hello, so friendly, need to stop off and get a coffee here. Yvonne started out with nothing, writing a blog 3 weeks ago. She's posted episode 2, she's just wrote episode 3, posted this week. She's got 73 subscribers to her Substack. Again, this was always the question, what does Yvonne think of all of this? What's life like? And now she's writing, and I'm reading it, right? And it's hard to remember that, you know, I'm very much, I just keep going forward. It's hard to remind myself at times that Yvonne was so heavily, you know, how much all of this meant to her, the leaving the house, the selling things, me getting here and falling ill, being in hospital, surgeries, everything else, right? I'm reading it from her perspective now. It's given me a little mental reminder of just how challenging this has all been. So again, it's not that everything's been easy. Money doesn't make it easy. It just means that things will come up, things will happen that will really contest you. So you have the fortitude to also deal with things when they come along. But I would rather be tackling that and enjoying the sunshine and getting up on a Monday morning to go back to that sales job, to give over half of the money to the Yvonne's just had a shudder there when I said that, giving half of that money to the government to just, piss it up the wall and spend it on things that you're never going to see the benefit of. I'm I much prefer this way of living right now. So those are the risks. Those are some of those conversations. And that's a little bit about what's been going on in my mindset. So the numbers are on Patreon if you're interested. 97 members, thank you so much. Yvonne's Substack details are down below. So if you want to go and read Yvonne's story, all the people that asked, and particularly from a wife, a woman's perspective of leaving the country and doing all of these things, that's a very different mindset, and she will convey a message that I could never convey in these videos. You can go and subscribe. Right, look at this, we're going to go get a coffee now. Look at this walk through this little shaded area here. Beautiful big temple here. And in the next couple of videos, I'll share a little bit more with you about what life is like in Sanur now that we're here. Everybody said this walk was stunning, and everybody was right. Thanks for watching, folks. See you in the next one. Let me know down below. How much is enough? When do you just decide that living your life is better than chasing the grind? You can tell me.